Hey everyone, this is Kristen with Living Able. I'm so excited to share with you today an interview that I got to have earlier this week with my friend Tara Richardson, who is a disabled, self-employed artist. It's not very often that I run into somebody who is disabled and also works for themselves. So I thought this would be a really cool opportunity to talk with her and get her input on things with working and having a disability, whether you work for yourself or not. This is going to be some interesting information, so I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to check her out at the link below. I'm so glad to be talking to you today. Was looking for at least 4 years for a picture that I wanted to have recreated, and then I found you and I saw your work and I just loved your work. And then also seeing that you were quote unquote disabled, I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I was super excited that you could do the picture for me. I'm going to have the picture showing for our audience so they can see exactly what you did for me and how good you are. But why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I was raised in an artsy family. My mom, she sketched and painted and everything, and my grandfather did the same. But I didn't know that about my grandfather until much, much, much later. And so I just kind of always, from the moment I grabbed a pair of crayons and my mom said that was it, I was hooked. I never looked back. So I would study and sketch anything that I could and paint, and I took, classes and different things and did competitions like my whole life. I've always done it. It's been fun. Mm-hmm. But everyone's always shocked when they notice that now that I use a wheelchair full time, they're like, "Oh, you paint," mm-hmm. And it's interesting. They're like, they think it's even better. I don't understand that, but I've always had the practice more, even though obviously I have something natural, but I also have a disability, so that means I just had to work extra hard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I did, and I went through phases where I wanted to be a cartoonist, and I wanted to, and then I wanted to just go travel Paris and paint, and and then I ended up doing. For 20 years, I made characters for video games and didn't paint, period. Just stopped. And then that ended. I couldn't keep up with the stress. It's a lot of work. And then I started painting again in portraits. And so I've been doing portrait painting now for several years, and I love it, and it's fun. Mm-hmm. I get to meet people like you and make you happy by painting things. So, yeah.
Oh, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody that can do hands and can do people. Because I could find, they could either do, the faces but no hands, or they could do, hands but no faces.
It's hard. It's hard to do hands. It really, really is. So you got to give it to people who can do hands and faces. Most people don't want to do people. I love faces and doing people, and it's so unique, and it would just kill me to do an abstract. That would just I don't like them. I'm not a big fan, and so yeah, I do people or pets or both.
Yeah, that's cool. I love it. Yeah, your work is absolutely amazing, and
thank you.
Of course, there's gonna have the website will be in the description box.
And I do commission paintings. You just email me your ideas, and I'll figure out how much it will be and make your painting dreams come true.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool, very cool. So let's go back to your disability. You said you're a full-time wheelchair user. Tell me about that. What is your condition, or what happened?
I have spastic dysplasia CP.
Okay.
Which is cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. And so it affects mostly my legs. And very minorly the upper body, my hands. So I don't notice any difference. So, I must have a little deficit in my hands, but after all these years of painting and creating, it's pretty much gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's pretty good.
And it's amazing, what we can do to like really overcome like certain things, or to learn to control it. I have a friend of mine who has CP, and he has a cooking channel, and he has the spasticity too, and so he had to learn how to concentrate and what to do to make sure when he's cutting something, that he doesn't hurt himself, and you wouldn't know just by watching him. So it's amazing what we can do.
Yeah, I have little tremors, but in painting it kind of helps because it kind of makes it look a little more painterly. But that's gotten less and less as I've painted. So yeah, mostly my legs. So I walk with braces and crutches for until I was 19, and then it wasn't really feasible anymore. I'd rather have a nice quality of life than struggle and.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave up using full body braces and crutches in like first or second grade. It just wasn't worth it. You can carry a lot more when you're in a wheelchair.
You can. I resisted for such a long time, and my doctor even said, and he had seen me since I was 2, and he finally said, I was around 16, now's the time you need a wheelchair. And I'm like, oh no, and then finally 19, he's like, I told you. So.
At least back then they would say, oh, there's a chance she could walk if she continues to use the...
I got that too. Up until I was in my teens, and then it was clear that it wasn't happening.
Right.
It was going downhill really fast.
That's so
It was obvious.
Right. Right. So you work for yourself. You do the commission paintings. Do you teach? Have you taught before? Tell me about that.
I'm thinking about teaching. I haven't taught yet, but that's definitely on my radar. I use Coral Painter and software on the computer to paint, and I'm a traditional painter as well. So a lot of people want to know how to do the digital painting, and most people think it's clicking a button or using a filter, and that is not the case. I paint just like I do on my traditional, with different brushes and different things, stroke by stroke, and it's I've spent my time doing traditional where you had a person sit for hours, and it's just not fun for anyone. So this is a lot more cost effective and fast. I mean, you get your paintings within 2 to 3 weeks instead of 6 weeks. And plus you got to worry about drying and all that stuff. So
yeah.
That's
cool, really. So you mentioned earlier that people would see your work and then they would see that you were in a wheelchair, and I don't know, it seemed like there was some kind of like struggle there. Have you ever felt like you had to either reduce your cost or I guess work harder to earn somebody's respect because you were in a wheelchair?
Earlier in my career when I was doing graphic arts, doing the 3D work, nobody knew I had a disability. I didn't tell anybody. No, none of my art friends. Nobody. I wanted people to judge me based on my art, and that was it. And things kind of changed when I started doing portrait painting. More people kind of knew, and no, I am charged exactly what I'm worth, and I've studied long and hard, and I'm studying for my Master of Arts degree and from PPA, and so I'm learning all about, you should charge what you're worth, and it doesn't matter your ability. People are just shocked. It's almost like, wow, you can do that, which is strange because I grew up with artists, and that's how that was my life. So to me, it's just strange not to paint or not to be creative in some way.
Yeah.
So when people say that, and I don't even think of myself as disabled most of the time. I mean, yeah, obviously you have moments, but it doesn't even occur to me. So when people point it out or bring it up, I'm almost like, what?
Right?
Oh, yeah, that.
Walking, it's overrated.
Right, I say that all the time.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, and I think that, you know, and I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I think that one of the reason that people are so shocked when they see somebody with some kind of condition, whatever it be, uh, and they're like shocked about it, is because things like the media, a lot of times, doesn't show that. Like they don't represent disabled people, as beings that can do that, and so.
True.
I'm hoping that shows like Speechless, and if more shows like that come out, that will be less of a obstacle that you and I have to overcome.
That's a really funny show. And
Hmm.
I was kind of worried at first. I'm like, oh, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. And it really is.
Yeah, it is a really good show. I absolutely love it. Let's see. What would be some advice that you would give to a person, whether it be a child, high schooler, or just somebody else that is quote unquote disabled, that is thinking that they want to have their own business, or is questioning, can I do this? What kind of advice would you give to somebody?
Well, I wasn't always so confident. In fact, I was always, when you grow up with a disability, it's completely different than when you acquire it later. You grow up with people saying, maybe you shouldn't try that. Or, so you don't hurt yourself, your feelings later. So when my advice is don't listen to those people. Don't give up. If it's your dream, I've had many people are like, you sure you want to do that? Not my family, but like people, teachers who thought they were well-meaning. I don't know. This might not be something for you. And they were totally wrong. It is exactly up my alley. I was only interested in art and poetry and writing my whole life. I've never had any other real passions. That was it. And that's what kept me sane. That's what kept me from, being miserable and kids were being mean and vicious and didn't want to play with me. I
Mm-hmm.
would sketch and paint better than them, which made me happy.
Yeah.
So I could do something they couldn't. And I think that's the big thing. Encourage kids, disabled kids, especially ones that were born disabled, encourage them to do everything. Try everything. If they suck at it, oh well, try something else. Because you'll never know until you try. I thought I wanted to um, do sculptures. Yeah, it's not for me. No, don't like it. I'm not good at it. So I moved on. I've tried other things that didn't work out. And I even tried writing and, bored out of my mind. So I gave that up too. So I didn't like it. I mean, I have ideas. I just don't like to sit there
Mm-hmm.
and write. It's boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried and I failed and I found something that I'm good at. But I have worked so hard. It did not just come overnight. I had to overcome, paralysis and all the stuff that you need to do to be steady because painting faces and like you said, hands is probably one of the hardest things that any painter can do.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So yeah, just don't give up and don't listen to people. They project what they think they can't do or on you, and it's not fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool, and it's interesting. I mean, I would have no idea how to really paint a hand without trying to trace my own and.
Well, that's how the kids start. That's how you start like that.
Uh-huh.
And then you go, then you put the paint over it. And and then eventually you can just, you don't need to sketch.
Uh-huh. So do you have any advice for parents of disabled children that, I think a lot of times the doctors, when you have a kid that's disabled, the doctors will tell everything that your kid can't do.
Right. Never say. My doctors thought I was deaf because I would ignore them, but I wasn't ignoring them. My mom said don't talk to strangers. So when they shoved me in a room with these people I don't know, I didn't say anything. they couldn't, she couldn't get them to understand that I talked all the time. I talked early. And they didn't believe her because they thought she was just crazy.
That's
She's
pretty
like,
awesome.
why didn't you talk to them? And I don't know, I was 2 or 3 or whatever. And I said, you said not to talk to strangers.
That is so funny.
Yeah, so
That is awesome.
the doctors would tell, she couldn't do this. She's not going to be able to do this. She's not, I mean, a million things. But my mom and dad never once said no. I tried skateboarding with my crutches and my braces. It was all right. They didn't say no. They weren't happy, but they didn't say no. Um, I've tried everything that I wanted to try, and nobody said no. And I think that's the most important thing for someone who's successful, or anybody, whether they're disabled or not. It doesn't matter. If you're always telling a kid no, they can't. They grow up believing no, they can't, and they won't achieve anything. They'll just sit in the house and say, I'm disabled, and this is as far as it's going to go. And it's sad.
You're absolutely right. With Living Able, the reason I started it was because I was running into so many people that were my age with the same level of disability or very similar, and they weren't able to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that they could. I knew that they could, but they had been told no for so long that they believed that.
Mm-hmm. I have friends like that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
My one friend, her mom still, I mean, she like grounds her if she thinks she did something wrong, and she's almost 50. I mean, for God's sake.
It's crazy. And it's like, and then parents, I know it's scary to have a disabled child, but you have to think that most likely your child's going to outlive you. And
Yes.
So you can sit there and coddle them all you want. And, things might take them longer to learn, but eventually the parent is going to pass away, and that child is going to have to do something.
And most of them are too afraid. In fact, I had a good friend that I went to school with, and his mom had passed away, and he ended up in a nursing home because his dad passed away, but he was sick, and he ended up in the nursing home because he was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then he never left that nursing home. He died there because he was too scared to leave, because they didn't teach him. You're supposed to teach your children to grow up and move away and have their own life. And I think parents with disabled children, they don't think that. They think they need to take care of them forever. And in most cases, they don't. I have friends who can't move a finger, and they live on their own with PCAs, and they ride the bus, and I mean, they make it work. They learn to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And if people just knew more about it, they might not coddle their children so much.
Yeah. My friend Clay, who I've had on several of my videos, he's got cerebral palsy as well. And he can barely do anything for himself, like as far as getting dressed and that kind of thing. He can't do it, but his mind is brilliant. So he has a master's of divinity. He has his power chair that he can ride around. He's married and he's got kids because his parents enabled him and taught him how to advocate for himself.
That's right. And the parents aren't doing that.
Yeah, so even though these people are doing the stuff for him, he still has to tell them what to do. He still has to know what needs to be done, what he needs from them. And so, they did a good job with raising him to the best of his ability, despite, not being able to do, almost anything for himself physically. And right. It's amazing what is out there and the technology that's out there. It's really awesome. And so I hope that this video will be encouraging to so many people that, never thought that they could either work for themselves or have a skill or just do their dreams, whatever that dream is, even if it is to work for somebody else. I hope that this video will be something that encourages them.
Well, I also have an added fun perk of having CP is the chronic pain and the nerve pain and I live with pain every day.
Mm-hmm.
So to do what I do and to get up every day and do, and and have my life. It's it's challenging sometimes, but yet I still manage to make it work.
Yeah, and being able to work for yourself, it's more challenging in some respect because obviously you have to be more disciplined and you have to know, okay, I have to make this amount of money to pay to pay these bills, and so you have to be on yourself to schedule that out, to do it. But it's also, I would think, freeing in the fact that, you can work your schedule around some of the stuff.
Right, and that's exactly why I've always chosen to work from home, even when I was doing my 3D work, because I tried working outside of the house, and I would be so exhausted, and I would come down with these weird conditions, like, infections and things, and my doctor's like, it's not going to work. Your immune system gets so low when you're out, and you're moving around, and your energy level goes and everything. So he was right. So when I tried to go to college and I couldn't get around on campus, I wanted to go to college, but I didn't get a chance. So everything that I've learned pretty much is self-taught or mentored by someone online, and I did take graphic arts in high school, and I graduated top of the class. So I had some skills to back it up. I have photography skills and stuff. So, but yeah, I pretty much did it on my own, and I switched careers totally, not knowing that I could still paint. I hadn't painted in a long time, and my parents had passed away pretty much 6 months of each other, or less, and that was just devastating. I was the caretaker along with my brother, and we were, so it was really hard. So I really needed a big change. That's when I started, back painting. And I know my mom would love that. She always loved painting. So, it just proves that if you want something bad enough, you will make it happen. You will figure out. There's always a way.
Yeah, find that support system. Whoever's going to encourage you, stick with those people. Those are the people.
Yeah, you hang out with the people that encourage you, not the people that are like, the bag of chips at home. You want to hang out with the people that are doing what you're doing, and gravitate to those people. Remember, a portrait painting is a gift that lasts like generations. I think of it as like you take a little kid and you paint them, and then they grow up, and then they have that painting in their house, and their children are like, "Wow, that's pretty awesome." It's so different than having a snapshot. They could get ripped and torn and ruined, because paintings usually are hung on the wall, and people really take good care of them. So it's a good gift if anyone's interested. Hit me up. I'll talk pricing and figure out the best way to create your dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I will put all of your information in the description box for everybody to be able to find you. You guys, you see the pictures here. Go to her website. She's amazing. I think I'm probably gonna get you to do a picture full of a dog that we had. Because I've seen some of your kind of memorial type pictures for animals, and oh man, you're so good. So I'm definitely gonna be talking to you about that.
Awesome.
I hope.
I love painting pets. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, those are all of my questions. I'm so excited that we got to talk today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. If you have any questions for Tara, you can leave them down in the comments below, and she will definitely get back to you. And just any kind of questions you have for her. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do a video a little bit different than my normal Fitness Friday video, but there is a video coming tomorrow, so don't forget to tune into that one. If you're new here, we do a video like this once a week, typically every Tuesday, And then every other Friday, we're doing kind of like a goal challenge accountability thing as well, which you'll see more about that if you check out the playlist, which I will also link in the little card up here. So don't forget to subscribe and have a great day.